Here we go. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Hello, hello. What is up, YouTube? Good morning, everybody. Wow, it has been a while since I've been able to get the time to just sit down and relax and have a stream with you guys. As a lot of you know, this is not my number one job. So I have I have my own career that I'm working on, and then I've got a new family, so super busy. And springtime is just getting more and more busy with fishing season and stuff, because I do fish competitively as well. So there is a lot to be had around here, but we do have some time this morning. I appreciate you if you're up early morning hanging out with me, if it's afternoon for you or evening, wherever you may be along the wonderful world of flight simulation. Thanks for coming along for the ride. We are doing a little two-hopper stream again. We're going to be in the PA31, one of my favorite piston twin engine aircraft, the Chieftain version of the PA31. This is, by definition, this is a Navajo, but the Chieftain is the largest twin piston that was made in, well, that's not a radial engine anyway, here in North America. So it is a beast of an airplane to fly. Navajo is not much different, just a little, very small differences, fuel system-wise and engine system-wise. But other than that, I'm excited to hop in it. We're doing a quick reposition flight from 21 Whiskey, Ranger Creek to Seattle, and then we're going to be taking an Airbus down to Portland. So good to see everybody here. Carl Childers in the house. I am Dimitri. Wojtek CYVR. What is up? Good morning. Good morning to you. Bug Eater Simpson, good day to you. Good to see you here. Daniel Smith in the house. Marvin Brooks. Epidemic. Cosmic in the house. Downey. What's up, guys? All right, so one other thing that is going to be a slight hindrance to us today, hopefully not too bad, is my work iPad, my company iPad that I have all my charts and stuff on, has gone missing. So I don't know if I left it in the flight deck and that has been either stolen or lost or whatnot. So hopefully we don't need to run any comm procedures today in the Airbus, and hopefully we don't need any hardcore charts. I do have some charts downloaded for us today going into Portland, as well as some ILSs into Seattle. So until then, we're just going to have to hope for the best, I guess. This is the Airflight livery that I did. I will try to package this up. I know a couple of you guys have been asking for it, but I'm going to try to package it up and get it out there on the Discord for you guys. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Pilot DG77, good to see you here. Perhaps some air work in the Navajo. Man, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if we'll have time to do air work, because we're going to be, from the looks of the weather, it looks like it's going to be pretty hard IMC. So we'll see what we can do. Pilot DG77. I'm hoping that the ILS works into Seattle. The last time I did this, I was supposed to schedule this flight a while ago for you guys, and I did a test run, and I couldn't get the ILS to work. So let's hope that's not going to be a hindrance. But let's go ahead and fire this thing up here. First things I want to do is I want to do the load, make sure the load of the aircraft is correct. We are taking off at 21 Whiskey. So check this out. This is Ranger Creek up there in Washington. Looks like the fog has lifted a little bit more since when I first loaded in, half the runway was in fog. But this is a airport where you'd probably not take off out of here IFR. But we're going to do it anyway because you are in the mountains. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom up here. Hopefully we can see. So you see the mountainous terrain all around here. We're basically going to take off. We want to shoot to go down this little gully here in the mountains, and then hopefully by that time we're going to be climbing like a rocket. I'll probably get the autopilot on as quick as I can. Hopefully we can pop through the clouds up here. We'll make sure we don't hit the mountain over there, and we're going to be pretty hard IMC. So let's get the show on the road, guys. So PA31, I haven't flown this aircraft in a very long time, so forgive me if I'm missing some of the proper procedures, but I did do a piston series on this airplane. So let's go ahead and get the batteries on. Batteries are hidden down here kind of on the circuit breaker panel. We'll go ahead and turn the batteries on. I'm going to go ahead and turn the avionics on as well, and I'm going to just quickly load in a flight plan here. And actually, I think it still has the anvil approach right there. So if I just go, this is from when I tested it, so I'm just going to go direct anvil enter, back out of there. It's already set up for vectors to final. So that's not too bad. We'll just leave that in there. That looks good. Let's go ahead and check our lights outside. We'll go ahead and get our All our lights on. We'll do a quick little walk around. We don't want to drain the battery too much. So we've got our strobes, nav light, beacons running. Landing taxi light there in the nose, looking good. Ice light here on the engine nacelle. And the swing tip looks good. Hop back in the airplane here. We'll go ahead and turn off all our lights. We'll go ahead and leave the position lights on. Our fuel tanks are on the inboard tank. That's good. Over here to the co-pilot side. Everything looks good on this over here as well. Temperature this morning is a little bit warmer than I expected it to be. Did expect it to be a little bit cooler, but all right, everything looks good. We'll go ahead and kill the batteries real quick. I want to do a weight and balance check here. We have to be at a certain load to get out of here. This looks a little bit heavy. Hour and 28 minutes of flight time. So we need a 45-minute reserve. It's about a 20-minute flight, so that's going to be an hour and 5. And we can go ahead and we're going to lower that a little bit. We're saving as much gas as we can. We're going to go about an hour, and we'll do an hour and 7 minutes of flight time of fuel. That should be more than enough because I'm not expecting us having to hold or anything like that. And our payload weight is, we're going to drop that down just a tad. Let's make it about 5,000, just so we can get out of here. It's a short runway. We don't want to hit any mountains. That looks good. Real weather, active sky is working. Epidemics is what am I going to use when I go back to work? I'm in contact with the whole lost iPad procedure. They're essentially going to issue a new one. Since technically it was lost by negligence, which I hate that word because I don't know if I truly lost it, and I'll explain here in a minute. I am financially responsible for replacing the iPad, and they have a couple of hot iPads that I can use in the crew room. So you just go down and get a replacement iPad until your new one comes. But why I say I don't know if I actually lost it is because when I came home, I put my briefcase, we got all our doors closed up now, put my briefcase in the laundry room, and my dogs, you guys have heard them all the time in the background in the stream, they ripped into my case, or ripped into my laptop bag, and I found one of my iPads, my personal iPad, was out on the floor. So I don't know if they got a hold of one of them and, dragged it somewhere, but we'll see. All right, fuel pumps are coming on. We're doing a quick prime. Pressure's up in the green, and I'll bring these back down here. Kill the pumps. You can see our fuel pressure dropped off there. I know it happens kind of quick, but in the real airplane, what you would do is you turn those pumps on, and I'll move I'll hold these with one hand, and I'll move it forward. You'll watch the fuel flow increase to the green, and then bring it back to idle, and then kill the fuel pumps because you don't want to flood the engines. We'll go ahead and go anti-collision light on. Our park brake is set. Well, it's not. We'll go ahead and set the parking brake. And I'm going to go ahead and crack the throttle just a tad. Let me find where my mixture bindings are here. There they are. We'll go ahead and turn our magnetos on. And let's go ahead and crank engine 2. So, clear right. As she comes alive there, we'll go into full rich. Oh, I tripped the parking brake off. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and lean it back about an inch or so just for start so we don't flood it while it's sitting there. And you know what? I already did that incorrectly. We should be starting with the avionics off just because you don't need to be starting the engine with all your avionics running. It's not necessary, and it's excess drain on the battery. So it looks like we got a good start on engine 2. So now we'll go ahead and put the engine, oh, it's right there at 1,000. It's pretty rare that I have it right on 1,000. Typically it's, maybe up a little too high or a little bit below. So now I know if I just match this throttle, when it starts up, it should be right at 1,000. We'll go ahead and clear left. She coming alive, there she goes. Up to 1,000 RPM. Now I'm going to just go ahead and bring the mixture right back about another inch or so. We're going to lean these for takeoff when we do our run-up. Alright, we've got our engines at 1,000 RPM stable. Everything looks in the green here. So let's go ahead and turn on our alternators. And we'll turn on the avionics. All red lights are out. Carl says, I really gotta admit, the flying the Seminole was a great plane to fly. The Seminole was a lot of fun, Carl. I did a lot of my twin training in a Seminole as well. It is a fun airplane. That T-tail, man, If you get slow, that T-tail will stop flying on you. But there we go, nicely spooled up. I am using ORBX Washington. Looks good. We've got our cowl flaps open, so watch your eyes for a second if this moving around bothers your eyes, because I gotta remember where my bindings are. So this is our overhead panel. And then we come over here. I'm just trying to remember where my view bindings are. I want to find... Okay, that's my fuel pump. My fuel tank pump switch here. So this is the inboard position. We're going to do all our takeoff and landing in the inboard position. In cruise level flight only, we will switch to the outboard tanks. But the inboards are larger. They're a larger fuel bladder. They're not separate tanks. They're just bladders. You have 2 bladders in each wing. The inboard is the larger of the 2. So all takeoffs and landings and maneuvers are done on the inboard tanks.
Donation.
Sony boy! Coming in, $2 donation. Oh man, what I'm trying to see. Oh, to the new iPad fund. Sony boy, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Thanks for the $2 bomb. I'm gonna need that, man. It's gonna. I just can't get over the fact that I actually lost my iPad. So I'm still hoping it'll turn up. Maybe it's under a seat here somewhere under the couch. I've tore the house apart looking for it. I don't know. We'll have to see if we can figure out. We're gonna go ahead and squawk 1200, even though we're not taking off VFR today. Now, what we need to make sure before we take off, see our oil temps here, they are in the yellow, so we're definitely going to need to do engine warm-up. Let's go ahead and get the ATIS while we're sitting here. Overcast, visibly more 10, 160 at 7, altimeter 3002. So we're definitely going to need to bump that up. Wow. 3002. That looks good. Wind is 160 at 7. So that'll be a perfect. We'll take off towards the south. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and close the cowl flaps right now just because the engines are cold. And we're going to taxi over to the run-up pad and we're going to do a little run-up, make sure our everything else is ready to go. So we got our brakes off, taxi light coming on. And let's go ahead and do a little taxi out. I do love this plane. I know all Carenado planes just look really nice, and the system's depth isn't really there. But for a light twin, I think you can get away with it as long as everything else is there, and that's kind of what inspired that piston series for the PA31. The sounds in this airplane, just the way it's modeled beautifully. Mateo! Thank you so much for that donation. It's for some dog training. Oh man, I appreciate it. I definitely need to do that. Thank you for that $2 British pound, or 2 British pounds, I should say. Thank you so much for that, Bob. Really appreciate it, man. We will definitely get Stanley and Holly some training because it's getting out of hand, man. They get into absolutely everything. Alright, so we'll go ahead and kill the taxi light. Now, as Active Sky reloads there, I'm going to go ahead and set our runway here as 150. I know I want to depart safely is going to be on a heading of about 175. Now, like I said, this is by no means anything you should be doing in real life. If this was a real life scenario, we would not be going anywhere because we cannot see the terrain. There is no instrument departure procedure published for this airport. So you have to depart out of here VFR. Obviously, this is illegal, but this is flight simulation, and it's going to be fun to do it anyway. So we got a heading of 170 set there on departure. We're going to climb like a rocket. I'm going to set, typically your climb out speed is right about 120, 125, anywhere 130, depending on your load. We're going to be pegging it between 120 and 110, hopefully, as we need to get up. Altitude is going to be our friend in this one. All right, let's go ahead and get the thrust. So I keep saying thrust levers, but must means I'm an Airbus pilot. So let's go ahead. We're going to bump the throttles up to 1800 RPM. So on the ground, you're going to use your throttle to control your RPM here until our governors take over. Sony Boy has become a member. Sony Boy, I'm going to go ahead and pause my run up here, get some positive rates in the chat here for you guys. All my my members out there, go ahead and get some more positive rates out there for Sony Boy. Welcome on board, man. Glad to have you here. I'm glad you're enjoying the content enough to become a member of the channel and support us here at V1 Sim. I say us, it's really just me. It's a one-man show. So I appreciate it, Sony boy. Glad you could make the stream, and glad you are hanging out with us today, this fine morning. Alright, so we've got 1800 set on the RPM. Now, according to temperature, we're going to cycle our propeller levers a certain amount of times depending on the temperature. With the outside air temperature, we're actually going to do 3 cycles of the prop. So what this is going to do is I'm going to bring the propeller lever all the way back to the feather position and full forward. And what's happening is I'm cycling, I went over this in detail in the piston series, but we're actually cycling oil in the propeller hub assembly here, because you don't want to have a bunch of cold oil up there when you're flying around. So hence why it depends on air temperature. So we'll go ahead and bring it back once. Watch that RPM drop. Now you don't want to let the engine actually feather, because unlike a PT6 or on the King Air or any free turbine, feathering the engine and keeping it running will significantly stress and damage the engine. So you don't want it to feather. You just want to make sure you verify that drop in RPM. Rule of thumb is don't let it drop below 1,000 RPM when you're doing your feather check here. But here's our third drop. It's coming down nicely. Go ahead and bring it back up. So we've cycled the right engine 3 times. You can see how the airplane rocks a little bit to the left or right, respectively. That's a cool little feature here that it's very accurate to the real airplane. There's a feather check 1. You can hear that prop start slapping the air too, which is cool. And number 2. And we'll bring it back the last time. And you can see that yawing motion there on the brakes. I mean, these are little details that Carenado really got right on this airplane. And I'm with you guys when you say, hey, all they do is produce good-looking airplanes and that's about it. I agree with that. But for some reason, this PA31 is a little diamond in the rough for me. All right, so we've got 1800 on there. Let's go ahead and get our fuel pumps on. We're going to load up the airplane completely. We're going to do windshield heat, all of our heats. We see our amperes here. We want to make sure that's in 0. Now, in reality, we would go ahead and do a load test, but that's something that's not simulated. You can't press the little load test buttons here. But we can see that all of our electrics works, and you can see that we are drawing current from the aircraft because you can see the ammeter start to jump there as I manipulate these switches. So there is some modeling there in the system. So we're going to turn our seatbelt signs on. The PA31s that I flew, we didn't have any seatbelt and no smoking sign. That was all configured for freight. Alright, so that looks good. We'll go ahead and we've got our fuel. We'll go ahead and get a little bit of lighting in here. Little pilot, little co-pilot light. Just brighten it up a little bit. That looks good. Alright, let's go ahead and look at our temperatures now. Our oil temperatures are in the green. Everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat on because I know it's... Oops, there we go. Heat mode, defrost on, temperature heat, cabin air on. And I'll crack the cockpit air just a little bit so it doesn't get too hot in here. We'll do an oxygen check up to 1,000 psi. That looks good. Flap system test is not modeled, unfortunately. We are going to do a short field takeoff, so we are going to go flaps to the 1 position. Alright, we'll go ahead and bring our throttles down to 1,000 RPM. Our run-up is complete. Oh, I forgot one of the most important things. Back up to 1,800. What we're going to do, we're also going to lean for a max performance takeoff here. So right about 1,800 RPM. So now, where's my camera view that I'm looking for? Do I not have it bound? I guess I don't have it bound. Nope. Alright, I hate doing that to you guys. Alright, so what we're looking for here is our peak EGT. Now, the Carenado, you can lean this out. Like, say I'm leaning the left engine, you can lean it all the way to the red line. If that happens in the real airplane, what we do, we just automatically select 1525, which is going to be right about in there. Now, in most situations in the real airplane, you're going to see a rise in EGT and then a drop in EGT before you reach red line. But that depends on outside air temperature and all the outside air environmental conditions. So in the Carenado, however, you're most likely always going to reach red line before you start to see a decrease in performance. So if you want to lean for max takeoff, just go ahead and set it. Right now I got about 1575. Give it just a little bit more fuel so we're not over temp when we go full power. And there we go. Now this Carenado also has a fancy gauge over here. You can see our EGT 1560, so I can even fine tune it more. The PA31s that I flew did not have a digital readout like this. This is really nice, but we just had that gauge there. Alright, we'll go ahead and bring it back down to 1,000 RPM. And we'll go ahead and clip my throttles together. Now I do want to change this here. I wish I could go direct to Anvil. Let's go ahead and go. You know what? I'm going to just go menu. I'm going to delete. I'm going to reload the flight plan here. We're going to delete flight plan. We're going to go direct to Seattle. There we go. Seattle Tacoma. Accept. Flight plan. There we go. Direct to Seattle. And we're going to go GPS. Now I also want to load a procedure. I'm going to go select approach. I think Seattle was landing southbound. I would imagine so with 160 here, just not too far away. Let's go ahead and just verify. Yeah, they're going to be landing southbound as well. So we're going to plan on the ILS 16 center. So I'm going to go ahead and enter. And we're going to do it from vectors. And we're just going to load it. We're not going to activate it. Now we have our GPS is selected for our OBS. Our direct track right now is 165. I want to go here, here, direct, enter. 295 is where we need to be going. So I'm going to go ahead and spin my OBS to 295 so I don't have to do this when we're flying. Always want to make sure that you have everything set up on an instrument departure before you get airborne. It eases that workload. Definitely eases that workload. Sony boy, got the emojis out there. Looking good. Looking good, Sony boy. I appreciate it. All right, I think we are set to go. We're going to be squawking VFR, even though we're not going VFR. We're ready. We'll go ahead and get our fuel pumps on. Lights are coming on. We're going to light them all up. I'm going to depart here on a heading of 175. How's our trim look? Trim for takeoff looks good. Get on the brakes. You guys ready to get out of here? I think we are. Let's go ahead and spin them up. Our fuel flows are coming up. Release the brakes. All the way to the red line. Manifold pressure is within limits. RPM is within limits. Airspeed's alive. 80 knots. There's 100. Go ahead and start rotation. Positive rate. Gear up. Trim it out. And climb like a mother. Now because I'm streaming and flying, I'm going to help use the autopilot to help me out here. We're going to go heading. Autopilot on. Now I'm going to go ahead and kill the fuel pumps one at a time. Verify our fuel pressure is holding. Flaps are coming up. You can see we're coming down through the valley there. That looks good. We're approaching 1,000 feet above field, so I'm going to go ahead and begin our reduction. Go ahead and bring our throttles back first. That climb coming. And now we'll bring our props back. We're looking for 2400 RPM. And in this climb out condition, I'm going to use about 35 inches, maybe up to 38 inches here as we're trying to maintain a very high performance climb. We're going to stay on that heading 170. Our speed's 120 knots. We're 6.5 and climbing 2,200 feet a minute. We're looking good. How's our temperatures? We're still 200. I'm going to open those cowl flaps as soon as we can get above these clouds here. I'm still going for maximum performance and clean configuration. One thing that we should have taken off with, guys, I totally screwed that up. Make sure you have your pitot heats on. Definitely want to have your pitot heats on, especially in a situation like this. Alright, as you climb, your manifold pressure is going to decrease a little bit, so make sure you keep bumping it up and go 38. And I also want to keep tweaking my props, get that nice synced up here. You don't want to hear that drum sound. That means your props aren't synced. Alright, we can go ahead and start lowering the nose a little bit. We're gonna look for about 130 knots in our climb out. 38, 24. Fuel flow's looking good. I'm gonna actually go just a little back on the EGT, or I'm sorry, on the mixture there. Just bring it back just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and continue to lower the nose just a tad, get a little bit more speed now. You can see the big old mountain right there. Let's go ahead and turn right. We're going to take it up to about 9. I'd like to take it above these clouds. Hopefully 9.5 will be high enough. Man, I know I love flying jets and turboprops and stuff, but getting back to an old piston, there's just something special about flying the old twin around. Especially doing it right. I mean, flying the twin is probably more workload than flying a turboprop, you know, depending on which model, of course, but I know when I worked for Ameriflight, the most workload airplane, other than the Metroliner, was the PA31. Alright, we'll go ahead and go altitude cap here. Now, in real life, you'd want to use your vertical speed here. Let's see how it does. To get this below 500 feet per minute before selecting altitude hold. But this autopilot works really good in this airplane, so you don't really need to do that. There's our level off. I'm going to go ahead and open cow flaps just half there because I see my temps are creeping up a little bit, so I'm going to go half flaps there. That was a pretty high performance takeoff. We're going to go ahead and bring this puppy all the way back to 28. Now we're going to bring our props back to about 2300 RPM, get configured for cruise. You always want to move your manifold pressure first because as you bring your propeller RPM back, your manifold pressure is going to increase. So set your manifold, move your props, and then reset your manifold. Alright, we'll go ahead and get our wing lights, landing lights, taxi lights off. We'll go ahead and leave our position lights and anti-collision lights on. We don't need the exit light on. Everything looks good there. I'm going to go fuel pumps on, and now we're going to switch tanks. So to switch tanks, we got our pumps on, and I got to find the right camera view. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the outboard. Whoa. Alright, and move to the outboard. You can hear that hiccup in between. That's realistic. Now we'll go ahead and kill the left pump, make sure the pressure's holding, and the right pump pressure's holding. So we switch tanks, we're on the outboard. Let's go ahead and redirect. Well, we don't need to redirect. How are we looking? There's Anvil. We're going towards Seattle. We may overfly Seattle and then vector ourselves back down the other side. But now what we need to do, I will redirect us here just so we have a straight line. There we go. The direct track is 301 degrees. So we'll go ahead and set that up, 301. Cruise checklist is complete, 28, 24. How's our EGT? 1550. I could probably enrich in that just a tad, cool those temperatures down a little bit. There we go. About 15. Doesn't have to be exact. Don't be exact on your fuel flows. It never is on the real airplane. Just in the ballpark. That looks good. How's our... Everything else looks good here. You can see our temperatures are coming down with those cow flaps open. Cylinder head temps are looking good. Beautiful. Alright, now we need to start prepping for our approach. I know this is a busy segment, not doing too much chat interaction, but flying these Pistons, man, they are a high workload, so... Sony Boy said I should probably take note emoji on how to use the system. That's awesome. Glad you got your emoji, Sony Boy. J6 said, did I try find my iPad? Yes, I did. But the problem is the iPad must be connected to a Wi-Fi source or something in order to be activated. So nobody has attempted to activate the iPad, which is a shocker to me. So I'm not... This is why I don't believe that I left it in the cockpit, because if I would have left the iPad... I've left one iPad in an airplane before. It happened to be my personal iPad. But the front cover, when you turn on the screen, is my ID badge and contact information. And it was within that same day, somebody said, hey man, you left your iPad. They gave me an email, sent me an email, and I got it back. So the fact that it's been several days now and I haven't been contacted, to me, I just can't believe that I left it in the airplane. I think my dog took it out of my bag and has put it somewhere, and I can't find it. I have tore this house apart looking for it, so I don't know. Hopefully it'll turn up. Smokey433 says, can you do a video sometime on the steps or hints you might use to enter a traffic pattern to an unfamiliar airport? I find myself always making a lot of adjustments or corrections. Smokey433, yes, I have been wanting to do a... Wow. Michael Zanner just dropped a 110 euro bomb. Xander says, wasn't here since, wow, man, school is really hard, but I'll be here in today's stream. I'm already enjoying. Michael Xander, thank you so much, man, for your donation. That is a gigantuan donation bomb there. I really appreciate it. It's been a while. I'm sorry, man. I've been super busy. I'm glad you're back with us. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. Thank you so much for that donation, man. Glad to have you on board. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you, Michael. Smokey, but yes, I've been wanting to do... I just don't have enough hours in a day. I've been wanting to do some VFR videos, just honestly in, you know, a 172, even like at the Airfoil Labs 172 or just the default 172, and just give you guys some basic VFR tips. That's something that has been on my list to do, and I just haven't had time. I've been so swamped with work and other stuff going on right now. You know, and I've got I got a family member that had a bad accident, and there's a medical thing going on, so I'm completely swamped right now, but I am trying to get more content out for you guys. My Sony Boy says, new iPad going to be paid for at this rate. I agree, Sony Boy. Thank you again. Thanks again, Michael Zanner. Dougal says iPad will be buried in the backyard. It might be, Dougal. Problem is, it's raining hardcore today, so if it is buried in the backyard, it's probably not working anymore. Alright, I gotta get back to work here on this puppy. So we're tracking, I'm not exactly, oh, you know why we're not following exactly? It's because we're not in nav mode. Let's go ahead and let the airplane nav up. Let's get prepared here for the ILS 16 Center into Seattle. We're gonna take it off of Anvil. We're gonna vector ourselves out there. The Loc DME is going to be 111.7, so the airplane is turning to join the direct to Seattle. And what we need to do is set... I'm surprised I don't have a camera view here for that. I'll just move it myself. So I'm going to switch... Oh, wow. There we go. So we're going to set 111.7 for the frequency. And we'll put it active, 111.7. Now for a backup, let's say we can't get 1.6. I just want to see if I can, if 1.6, do I have 1.6 left chart in here? I may not. I have all the Portland charts for our next leg in the Airbus. It's 111.7. 3.4 right is 110.3. I'm going to put 110.3 in there just for some reason. I don't know if it was a bug or what, but I could not get an ILS frequency captured on my test flight into Seattle, which could be a problem. Alright, 111.7, 164 will be the final approach course. Our minimums is going to be 200 feet, we know that, AGL, and in this airplane we only have the rad alt alert, so we're going to come over here and scroll our altitude alert to 200 feet, right there. And we also need to begin, perhaps, our stage cooling process. So I'm going to go ahead and start slowing us down a little bit. We're at 28. I'm going to come all the way back to 26 RPM. I'm sorry, manifold pressure. And we will note the clock. So we're right about 12. We got 2 minutes. 2 minutes time. So we've got our ILS 16 Center here. We're going to vector ourselves out. We're going to join back up at Anvil. We're going to join Anvil at or above 3,200 feet. We've got 110.7, 164 inbound. Touchdown is 430 feet. 200 feet AGL take us just about 230 above the ground. Touchdown for runway 16 Center be a left-hand turnoff. We got plenty of runway available. I may do a long landing. We'll do a long landing approved. We'll get off here and go over to one of the auxiliary ramps here on the south side of the airport and then hop in our Airbus. Expecting to cross Anvil 3,200. Our final approach fix is SOTO, however, at 1900 feet, 6.2 miles from the localizer. In the event of a missed approach procedure, we are going to fly straight out on a Seattle 160 heading, which is essentially the Seattle 161 radial, at or below 2,000 feet. Once we pass Tebney at 2.4 DME, we'll go ahead and continue our climb to 5,000. The reason the missed approaches like this is for arrivals. They want you to level at or below 2,000 because if you're going missed southbound, you have arrivals coming in from the south. So you got to level, be sure you're below 2,000. You'll want to blow through that altitude. So hopefully we don't have to go missed. We've got that set up. I'm going to go ahead and start a slow, gradual descent here. We're going to go ahead and take auto altitude hold off. And just like in real life, I'm going to go ahead and do 3 clicks here on the down. That should get us roughly about 300 feet per minute. We've ellipsed, yeah, 2 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the manifold pressure back, and now another 2 inches. Everything else is looking good. Engine instruments are still in the green. Cylinder head temps are holding normal there, right about 150. Oil is good. Fuel pressure is good. We are in our descent, so you know what that means. We need to switch tanks to our inboards, correct? Let's go ahead and get our pumps on. Switch 1. It's kind of hard to see. And they are a pain in the butt in the real airplane, too. Switch to inboard there. All right. And left pump off. Fuel is holding. Right pump off. Fuel is holding. Let's go ahead and look at our GPS here. I'm going to go procedures, activate approach. Actually, you know, we'll just go activate vectors to final. So now we've got Anvil out there. And I should have put you back in heading mode. I'm sorry. You're going to try to capture the back course. So we're going to go heading mode. Now we can go ahead and change to VLOC. We're going to come right and extend it downward. We said our final approach course is going to be 164 degrees. So we'll set our HSI to 164 degrees. Rand Cooley, how's it going, my friend? A $2 bomb donation. He says iPad donation to Rand Cooley. Thank you so much for that bomb, my friend. Really appreciate it. Let's get some positive rates out there. Let's get some positive rates out for a couple of Michael Zanner and Rand Cooley. I got to be better with my positive rates. So donations and new members, positive rates all around. Rand Cooley, thank you so much for your contribution. I really appreciate it, my friend. I hope you are enjoying the stream. I hope you guys are excited to get a little Toliss A319 action in here too as well. So I'm going to go ahead and continue a right turn here on my heading, kind of set myself up on a downwind. Now I did, what was I saying? The approach course is 164 degrees, so we'll go ahead and set 164 degrees. We are in VLOC mode. ITUC, that looks good. We're going to need to pick up our rate of descent here at this rate. We'll go about 3 more clicks. There's 2 minutes. We're going to come back down to 2,200. Now to help my descent a little bit, I'm going to bring the props back just a tad. Get a little bit. We're going to get a little faster, but a little bit slicker on the aerodynamics there with those props pulled back 2,200. I'll go back even more. Let's go back 20. It's a little low. 2,200 is good. Keep that manifold pressure right about 22 inches of manifold as well. Now the reason I'm doing the stage cooling technique is in the real airplane, you have your turbos in here, and if you just go from cruise power to idle, you're going to create major engine damage on the engines. Now, while that's not modeled, unfortunately, I would love to see sim coders or someone pick this up and really make that make this airplane awesome. But in the real airplane, of course, you can't just jockey the throttles around, so that's why we do the stage cooling technique. And it is something that you have to plan for, because in real life, I mean, if you've got a descent coming up and ATC needs you down, you need to get down. You need to calculate all your descent planning. And I have a piston series out on my channel that has all of that covered in detail. So we're going to go ahead and continue our descent. I'm going to actually increase the rate of descent here even more, try to keep about 1,000 feet per minute. We're going to continue coming all the way down. We're going to join outside of Anvil, most likely at 4,000. Then I'm sorry, 3,200. Then I'll probably, depending on if we're getting the signal or not, I may dive and drive us all the way down to 1,900 and see if we can get the signal. I'm really hoping we can get the signal here in Seattle, because I think it is hard IFR, 1500 few. Oh, that's not bad. 3500 overcast. Oh no, this is child's play right here. 3500 overcast. We should be able to get in visually once we get down below the cloud deck, so that makes me feel a little bit better. All right, let's get back outside. Let's enjoy this plane a little bit. Raver says, how can... I know you can't tell us too much, but is the Toliss 321 close to release? Raver, you know, I can't tell you too much, and to be honest with you, I don't know. And even if I did know, I wouldn't, you know, I'm not going to disclose that information unless they wanted me to. But in all honesty, guys, for asking about the release of the 320, I have no idea. The only thing I do is I test fly it. They invited me to, you know, test fly the beta around, and I give them a little briefing on what I've experienced in it and how is it handling, and that's about it. So I do not even possess the information on release dates or whatnot. So I think the last public statement was, you know, early 2020, quarter one-ish. So hopefully it's soon. I hope it's out, you know, just as much as you guys do, because I want to see it. I want to be flying it around on stream. Sony Boy says, are you going to float it out till you hit the other end to spare the long taxi? Yeah, I probably will. So what they do sometimes when I was flying for a mare flight is you'll, you know, request long landing. Now at what is it? At 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning over there, you're definitely not going to get that in real life. But since we're offline today and we're just having some fun, we'll simulate a long landing approved. And when you get a long landing, you can take it all the way down as long as you don't go off the end of the runway. All right, that's 2 more minutes, and oh, you see my manifold pressure is creeping up there. Let's go ahead and bring it back down to 20 now, because I was at 22. Now we're at 20. So in 2 more minutes, the engines will be effectively stage cooled, and at that point, you're now free to manipulate the throttles as necessary. You can bring them to idle, and you can bring them up to, you know, max power if you need to. But there is a stipulation, and I apologize, I don't remember what it was. It's been years since I've flown this airplane. But if you are stage cooled and then you require max power, or I think something over 30 inches, you can only be there for a minute or 2 before you have to effectively stage cool the airplane again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and adjust our heading just a little bit, keep us on a nice parallel entry here. Pilot DG says, V1, if you contact SimCoders and offer some feedback of the flight model, they will surely rep the Navajo. You know what, Pilot DG77, I might do that, because I would love for them. The only thing, I think this airplane flies great, performance-wise, and, I mean, all airplanes in X-Plane Light Twins are a little bit weird in the pitch area. So here's 4,500 feet. We're going to take it down to 4,000, right? We're going to take it down to 4,000. Actually, no. I'm starting to see ground down there. I'm going to shallow out that descent. We do not want to hit the ground. I think it flies pretty good. Oops, that just increased my descent. There we go. About 200, 300 feet a minute. And then we'll level at 4,000. What this airplane needs is their SimCoders, their rep, you know, about the fouling spark plugs and damaging the engines. If you could damage these engines with abuse like they have in the Baron, I think I would fly this airplane a heck of a lot more, because the sound set that you guys are hearing, we're going to go ahead and level here about 150 feet high, that's fine. The sound set that comes default with this airplane is very realistic. I think it is really nicely done. And I don't know why. I don't know if Carenado they actually had subject matter experts for this airplane when they made it, because I'm telling you guys, it flies nice. I really enjoy this airplane a lot. Alright, so we have a deflection there on our CDI. That's a good sign. Anvil's at 3,200 feet. I'm going to continue. There's our glide slope deflection. Alright, the aircraft is effectively stage cool at this time, so I'm going to continue slowing. Ideally, we want to shoot an approach. Now, a DG77, I do have been wondering about the IFR approach in the Navajo. You're going to be setting your props at 2,400, and you're going to be cow flaps half. So once we get on to the final approach, I'm going to go cow flaps half, and I'll make sure our props are set at 2,400. We're aiming for 120 knots. Now, you can fly the airplane with flaps 5 or flaps approach. It just depended. It was more pilot technique. I mean, some guys did it I didn't do it too much just because I found that the Navajo, once you go to that approach flap setting, you really got to put that nose down trim in there. And when you go a lot, you know, a heavy nose down trim to stay in level flight, this is a beautiful shot right here. Oh, we're back in the clouds. Let's descend a little bit. When you have all that nose down trim, once you go down, you know, it's short final and you pull that power to idle, you end up doing having a bad habit by riding the trim in your flare. And a lot of guys do that. You don't want to ride the trim in the flare. So what happens is, you know, you pull the power to idle and you start pulling back on the yoke. But it's so heavy because you had all that nose down trim in there that you start riding this trim. You pull back and hold on the trim. And that's a bad habit, because if you have to go around and you go throttles full forward and you've just been riding that trim aft, now your airplane's going to skyrocket nose up and you're going to stall, crash, and end up not in a good situation. So, all right, let's go ahead and continue our descent now. A little bit more. We're going to go all the way down to our Anvil intercept, which was 3,200. We'll go ahead. Am flight 202, turn left heading 202, or turn left heading 270, descend and maintain 3,200. All right, 270 on the heading, 3,200. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the throttle back a little bit more, and I'll probably, oh wow, that looks beautiful right there. There's Seattle off our left. Let's go ahead and drop those cow flaps half now. We'll see them open up here. Here they come. Cow flaps half. I'm going to go ahead and bump the props up 2,400. Whew, that sound is amazing. I love these old prop sounds, man. Whew. All right, we'll continue our left turn now. Am flight 202, turn left heading 210. You're 8 miles from Anvil. Maintain 3,200 till established. Code ILS 16 center approach. 210 on the heading, 3,200 till established, cleared, ILS 16 approach, Am flight 202. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and altitude cap us at 3,200 feet. We're turning left to an intercept heading of 210. I'm going to go ahead and continue reducing power to get us to our approach speed of 120 knots on an instrument approach. The aircraft is stage cooled. We are on center tanks. I'm going to go ahead and get our lights on here. Light it up so everybody can see you. Our pitot heats are on. Everything is looking good. IMDimitri says, if you have time today, could you put up real view settings for a screenshot? Yes, you know what? A lot of you guys have been asking that. And now real view is aircraft specific. So if you remind me again, Dimitri, when I'm in the Airbus, I will do it as well. A lot of you guys asked for that here, and I'll take a screenshot too. So then if I remember, I'll post it in the Discord. But for the PA31, this is my main settings here. My G-force feedback. So we've got that, and miscellaneous. So this is what I'm running right now. I think it's the most realistic to me. The airplane, you can really get carried away with real view. It can, you know, you really make it shake a lot. But airplanes really, in the cockpit, you're really not shaking a lot, unless you're in turbulence. And, you know, what I do miss is, you know, that startup where it shakes a little bit. But hey, I can live without that. All right, so hopefully that was up there long enough you can get a handle on it. All right, we're 3,200. We'll have to disengage the autopilot here pretty soon. But I mean, you can see what I mean. I'm already in that 20 to 25 manifold pressure range. I'm a little bit fast. If I were to get approach flaps out there, it just requires a lot of excess trim on the airplane that I just didn't feel is too necessary. So you can shoot it, just play around with it. You know, try an approach with flaps approach or with flaps up. So there's 120 knots. Let me zoom in my GPS here, my little cheater line. And you know what? I bet we can go ahead and arm the approach. So we are FD, approach, arm, altitude, autopilot, hold. Let's see if she'll capture. Let's see if it'll capture by itself. What's our distance? We are 5.2. Looking good. There it goes. FD approach coupled. Now in real life, you were not allowed to fly coupled approaches for where I worked at Ameriflight. You could not do a coupled approach in the PA31 just because the autopilot can get a little sketchy. So all approaches were hand flown. And I mean all approaches with down to minimums and terrible winds and NDB circle to lands and all that. So you could not couple the approach. The airplane could do it in theory, but it's a company procedure. All right, so I'm gonna, for fun here, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go flaps approach. Now let's watch the trim. See that trim riding? Look at that trim. And look at that speed now. So now I'm really gonna have to bump up the power to maintain 120. See, I'm almost 30 inches of manifold with flaps approach. So in this airplane, play around with it. If you like 120 with flaps approach, go for it. But I personally flew it with flaps up. What's the craziest, funniest waypoint name I've encountered? Crazy Woman, CZI. Crazy Woman VOR. I think it's CZI. It's out there somewhere. Alright, so we're perfectly stable, 120 knots, 3,200 feet. We're just waiting for our glide slope to come down. We can see the airport in front of us there. Flight 202, contact tower. Switch over to Tower Freak. Tower Flight 202, ILS 16 center. Flight 202, 16 center. Wind 160 at 5, you're clear to land. Boom. Clear to land, 16 center, Flight 202. What other views do I have bound? Ooh, that's a cool wing shot view right there. Oh, these are my views over here. Now you can see here, you see how my cylinder heads are below 300, about 250. That's good. That's why we have those flaps, or cowl flaps at half. Because in an instrument approach, if you're going to be going mist, you're going to be using high power settings, the last thing you're going to be thinking about, trust me, is your cylinder head temps. So that's why we keep those cowl flaps at half. Because if you have to go mist and you're cleaning up the airplane, and you're trying to, you know, twist your needles in here and do all this stuff, it's all knees and elbows, man. So that's why we have your cowl flaps preset at half for the go around. RPM set 2400. Here comes our glide slope. I'm gonna go ahead and hand fly this down. I don't know. I'm gonna hand fly here in a second, but I'm curious to see if it will couple, how it couples up here. I mean, it already says it's coupled, but let's see if it follows the glide slope, and then I'll take over manually. This is a cool view right here. There's our CenturyLink. Man, it's a bummer the Seahawks didn't make it. I was hoping the Seahawks would beat the Packers. I think it looks like we're going down. Yeah, it's captured it all right. So that's pretty good. This autopilot is really, really good for this type of airplane. In real life, they're a little bit more sketchy. At least ours were. Alright, let's go ahead and have some fun. We'll hand fly it. Right about at 120 knots in this airplane, and you know, your descent, your vertical speed is going to depend upon your ground speed. But in this airplane, generally about 120 knots indicated. Unless you have a crazy wind, you're looking at about 750 to 800 feet per minute to stay on the glide slope. So we're on the slope, 120 knots. And you would carry this all the way down to minimums, and then you would either go flaps full and land, or land at approach flaps. So if you didn't have flaps extended, once you broke out, you'd go approach flaps, and then go ahead and put her down. Or if you were flying at approach flaps and you broke out at 200, you can go to full flaps and land. Or if you got a really long runway like this, in this case, I probably will keep the flaps at approach just because we have such a long runway. And the PA31 gets super draggy when you go flaps full. But we are going to save the taxi time. Matter of fact, we'll sidestep to 16 left. How's that? Flight 202, can you accept a sidestep? Okay, yes, we can. Flight 202, sidestep 16 left, clear to land. Sidestep 16 left, clear to land. Flight 202. Alright, so now our glide slope is not going to be accurate for 16 left. But we are visual. We can see the pappies. we'll go ahead and lower the gear right about the final approach fix inbound, which is Soto, which is 6.2. We're inside of that, but this is such a long ILS. I'll wait just a little bit longer. You know, you've got to be mindful too when you're flying a PA31 into a commercial airport like this. They're going to want you to be going fast, so it wouldn't be uncommon. Hey, can you maintain 140 to final? And sometimes you have to do that. You know, gear up, flaps up, 140 knots on all the way down, and then drop the anchor when you get in close. But that's what they expect from those freight dogs. I mean, freight dogs, they know how to fly their plane. I'd get that a lot going into San Francisco. You know, hey, you got a 380 behind you, or you got a 7.4. Can you maintain 140? I had one guy ask me, like, can you maintain 160 to final? I was like, no. I can do 140, but 160, that's pushing it. All right, we'll go ahead and lower the gear now. As that gear comes down, we'll go ahead and slow to our approach speed of about 100 knots, anywhere between 100 to 110 knots. Once you get below 100 knots in this airplane, it will drop like a brick. You will run out of elevator control. So keep that speed at 100 or above until you're pretty much ready to touch down. So right here, this is where my honeycomb yoke is really stiff on me. I feel like I wish I had a little bit softer pitch axis. Alright, we are going for, before everybody yells at me, we are doing a long landing approved, so we probably will touch down past the touchdown zone. We are doing a pre-planned float. We are going to intentionally float the airplane so we don't have to taxi for 45 minutes. But you also have to be careful about it. Some companies don't allow long landings because then if you go off the end of the runway, they say, what the hell are you doing? And even myself, you know, I feel a little bit, feels weird to float this long, but we'll take it down. We're right at 100 knots. Right about there. We'll go ahead and close the throttles nice and easy. Fly it down, fly it down. Ooh, that's going to be firm. Touchdown, props full forward on touchdown. As soon as you touch down, props full forward. But you could see there, I'd be interested, I hope the speed works in replay, because I think I dropped right about 80 knots, and that's when I ran out of elevator control. If you believe it or not, I was full aft on the elevator when we touched down, and you see how, I mean, it wasn't hard, 140 feet per minute, that's not very hard, but it will drop on you. So we'll continue the rollout here. Matter of fact, I see an Alaska ramp over there. I see some props. We'll take the next one. Actually, you know what? Hey, Flight 202, can you make the left 180 there and exit? Yeah, we can do it. We'll make the left 180. So on the ground taxiing, I use a lot of differential thrust. So I'll bump up the right engine if I want to turn left. I'll bump up the left engine if I want to turn right. Alright, we'll make the left 180 here. Pumps should have been on that approach. That's a mistake on my part. Wing, landing, taxi light stays on, anti-collision stays on. We'll go position. Pitot heats come off, pumps come off. Flaps come up, transponder standby, cowl flaps open. That's our after landing flow. Open those cowl flaps all the way. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Seattle and Flight 202. Taxi straight into the ramp. Good day. We'll see you on the other side. I see some props over here. We'll go ahead and pop the window. Now, the airplane I flew, this window was the door because we were configured for cargo, so this was all closed off here. And if you had a lot of cargo, you couldn't exit out the aft. You had to exit out the door. All right, onto the ramp here. We'll kill our lights. We'll take it next to this, that old ATR over there? Wow. I just love that sound. There's something to be said about the old piston. CRJ700-900. Yeah, we're not quite that big, but we'll stop it there. Now, you know what? We'll stop it on the A319. That's what we're taking next. Alright. Hide the yoke. Brake set. Avionics off. What we want to do here is we're going to bump it up to 1000 RPM. And then we're going to kill our mixtures. Props come to stop. Idle. Magnetos 2, 3, 4 off. Anti-collision light off. And then battery switches, or I'm sorry, alternator and then battery. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Seattle. Let's go ahead and pop that replay real quick. Actually, I want to make sure we disable real view. And I got to make sure I re-enable it for the next flight. Let's go ahead and take a look at that landing. I really hope, I'm hoping the airspeed works. It looks like it's going to work. Whoa, it's loud. All right. A 757 Spy says, hello, great to see you live. I'm really enjoying your Pro Pilot series on the A320. Amazing series. Hey, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it, 757 Spy. We're going to be hopping in the A319 next. I hope you stick around. It's going to be a short flight down to Portland. Glad to have you on board, 757 Spy. Sonny Boy says, usually my throttles are cut by the time I'm trying to get down. End up slamming. Fly AOA. Oh, you guys are talking about something else. I got you. Embraer's making a new turboprop. Are they? All right, here we go. Let's look at I want to watch the cockpit view here. So we'll pay attention to the speed. There's our inner marker. We're looking good. We got flaps approach. Long landing by intentions. And you can see this little isolation and pitch. That's because my yoke is so stiff. All right, so there's 105. There's 100 knots. So right now I should be at 100 knots. I should be ready to touch down. I'm still a little bit too high. In real life, at this altitude, even though it looks pretty low at 100 knots, I'm getting dangerously low on airspeed. So let's go ahead and watch the remainder of this float. There's 70, there's 95, there's 70 knots. So now I'm flaring. I'm at 85 knots. Look how quick that speed came off. 85 knots. We'll continue watching it. So I was at, that's full aileron deflection. Let's back it up just a little bit. Look at that elevator. That's full nose up elevator. And my airspeed is at 85 knots. So I am a touch, I mean, technically, I think this could be, you know, reworked a little bit in the aerodynamics coding. I don't know if it's this pronounced in real life, but I do know once you start getting in that 85 area, you're going to drop. And we did. I mean, we didn't drop hard, but luckily I was low enough. But that's where you have to be careful. That's where you got to be careful. Because, I mean, I had full up elevator for a good second or two there. Right there, see, holding it. Probably could have got more if I trimmed it, but I mean, I didn't even get the nose up on that one. Little off center line as well. But that's the challenge with this airplane. It's fun because it takes a little work to get a nice smooth landing, get that flare up, because you really have to manage that speed. All right, one more. We'll throw the screen up here. We'll service the A319. Man, I mean, that piston sound is pretty cool. Let's watch it from right here. This is cool, from the FOC. This is a cool shot. Epidemic says, thanks for the real view settings, V1. I changed from head shake to that, and man, just love the shaking the cockpit when I take off and land. Yes, Epidemic, I agree, man. I think it's fantastic. Dave R says you should try the C310L, and the flight dynamics and systems are off the hook. Even a headset you put on and it changes sound level very real powder. Dave R, I will look into that. The C310R or C310L. Who's it by? Dave R. Who's it by? Is it by Milviz? I know Milviz had a really good 310. I think that was a 310R though. Alright, I think that's going to do it. We're about 5 feet off center line there, not bad. Alright guys, so you know what that means. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the Be Right Back screen. We're going to service the A319. We're going to load up for a quick hop down to Portland International. I can't wait to get back in the Airbus. I feel a little bit more in my element after being in this puppy. But I mean, this airplane is no slouch. Look at the texturing. We all know Carenado makes fantastic texturing. Look at the, you know, your map lights, switches up here, your little, is this where? Yeah, little annunciator lights. I mean, they are no slouch when it comes to texturing beauty. Really nicely done. Captain Berto, $5 Bob. Hi everyone, how are you? Captain Berto, I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for that donation. I'm glad to have you on board, my friend. We are going to service the 319 and get her ready for a flight down to Portland. So I hope you hang tight. I'm going to throw up the Be Right Back screen, and then we're going to go from there. So you guys hang tight. Thanks for tuning in on that first leg, and I will catch you on the other side of the break. All right. Are you guys ready to roll? Oops. Nope. No, you're not. Desktop audio. There we go. All right. I hope you guys are ready to roll now. We are in the Toliss A319. Let me see if I can get the Project Fly overlay up. Let's go ahead and fly now. Connected to Sim. Let's see if we can get our... Maybe not. Oh, hey, look at that. Right about there. How's that? All right, guys, let's get to it. You like that porn music, huh, Carl? Appreciate it, man. You know, YouTube free music. What can I say? All right, guys, let's go ahead and switch gears now. We are back in the Airbus A319. This is by Toliss, and we're rocking the CFM engines, which I hate, but technically Alaska's got most of the CFMs. So we're going to go ahead and rock the CFM variant today. Beautiful airplane as always. You guys know what an Airbus looks like. So we are completely cold and dark. I don't do too many complete cold and dark starts with you, so let's go ahead and do it from the beginning here. I'll go ahead and pretend like we just came in from the cockpit, so we'll go ahead and walk into the cockpit here. Everything is completely cold and dark. We'll make sure we check for all of our safety items and things like that. Gear lever's down, that's off. PWS is off, engines are off. That looks good. We're going to come up here and establish electrical power. We got 28 volts on there. More than enough. Battery 1. Battery 2. And let's go ahead and hit the external. Listen to those BSS sounds firing up. One thing I do want to enable is a real view for this flight. We want to make sure that is enabled. Hopefully I didn't just crash my game by enabling that, because that would really make me sad. Oh, there we go. Real view is back on. We've got ground power connected to the airplane. We'll go nav and logo light in position 1. I'm going to be flying this airplane today. On the overhead panel here, crew supply oxygen, that is on. Ground control push button is on. We'll go ahead and start the ADIRS alignment. 1, 2, and 3. Of course, we'd wait for the on-bat light to illuminate and extinguish for each subsequent IR. That way we know it is capable of reverting to its battery power. Now, while the airplane continues to boot up and it goes through all its gremlins, I'm going to go ahead and fire up these screens here. What is a CFM? Creates forward motion. Now, I forget what it stands for, but it's an engine variant. That's loudspeaker. What am I doing? I really hope we don't have any faults today, because like I said, I don't have my comm with me. I can't run any cockpit procedures with you guys. And Toliss, if anybody watched my stream before, you all know that Toliss likes to throw some surprises in there, which is why I love flying this airplane. All right, everything's up. We'll go ahead and do a fire test here on the APU since we just started it. That's pretty quiet. The sounds are there, but they're pretty quiet. Oh wow, thought I discharged a bottle. There we go. APU fire test is complete. We'll go ahead and turn the seatbelts off. I'll keep that off for now. That looks good. So overhead is complete. We'll go ahead and do our exterior walk around. Make sure that everything looks good. These are the CFM engines right here. Rationalistic. So the IAEs look a little bit better, perform a little bit better, a little bit larger exterior, but just about the same amount of thrust as the CFM engines. All right, little Cirrus Vision jet here. That's cool. Let's go and get our route up here. We're going to initialize our McDo. We're going to go from Seattle to Portland. Flight number, we are going to be Alaska. Oh well, I'll just leave it ASK. Ask. About 1522. Align, and we will confirm the alignment. Cost index is going to be 25. Actually, Carl said they only use 15, so we're going to go 15. Boom. Cruise flight level, it's pretty shallow coming over there. Let me take a look at the flight aware. Seattle to Portland. I know they have certain altitudes they typically file for this route since it is pretty short. And the route we're actually following is an Embraer 175 route. Looks like they're filing today at 17,000 feet. Wow, so that's not even above our transition altitude. So we'll go ahead and we'll fly it at 18,000. That way we can just set standard at 18. Oh no, we can't do that because we're going that direction. Well, we'll do it full realism here on the V1 channel. 17,000. Seattle, we're going to depart 16 left. There is no SID, right? Because we're picking up the, what is it? The Helen 6, which is off of Seattle. So can I do Seattle 7? Yeah, which is just a manual leg. And then we're going to pick up Portland. Let's see what Portland would be landing. Portland's probably going to be landing with the south wind. I think they're going to be landing 10s. They could be landing 10s. 10 right, 10 left. We'll request 10 left. Let's go ahead and we'll load up 10 left. Helen 6. Arrow right. Seattle. Insert. Let's take a look at that. See how that looks here. Plan mode, constraint mode on. Dougal says, I love the Toliss. Seem to be drawn more to it than the Flight Factor 320. I do love the Toliss, man, Dougal. It does have a special place in my heart. It really does. I mean, it's just something about the 319 that it captures well, the Toliss. I mean, they capture that 319 feeling pretty well. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Off of Seattle, manual leg. Oh, I see what it's doing. Yeah, no. Manual leg is fine. We're going to leave that disco in there. We'll eventually join. Man, the arrival starts early on. Transition out to 10 left ILS. Perfect. All right, that looks good. Second air, we can't do it in the 319. You can do it in the 321, though. So our flight plan is in there. Diffs rip. Oh, my gosh. I forget. I know they have some funky tuning thing here. There we go. Seattle 16.8. I'm going to hard tune that on my side. Init B, let's go ahead and take a look at our load sheet, guys. Ground service. Oh, listen to the hydraulics closing. That's pretty cool. Let's take a look at our load sheet here. We're going to take a lighter load. How about 103 people? A lot of cargo in this puppy. Holy crap. We don't need that much cargo. That looks good. Not a lot of bags on the way down to Portland there. We'll go ahead and apply 4,000 kilos of fuel. That's plenty of gas. Apply. Quick refuel. Defuel. What do we have? 24.9. Oh, that's pretty darn close. 24.9 and 52.4. Block fuel is 4.0. Dimitri says, can you load a couple of fixes for the hell? Wait, we can't. Maybe load a couple of fixes for the... Dimitri, you want to see... Why can't I put block fuel in there? There we go. Init, perf, and let's go ahead and do flap 1 plus F. What do they have us doing today? 149. What do you guys want? You guys want to flex, or do you want to go full yoga out of here this morning? We can flex it. It'd be more realistic to flex, or we can just go, we can let it rip. 149, 149, 151. This is showing a flex temp of 65. That's pretty low. Man. Flex temp 65, and flaps are going to be config 1. Yeah, Carl, they do fly a lot of Q400s on this route for sure. All right, our load settings are good. Let's go back up to the overhead here. Let's go ahead and start the APU. I should have probably done that a while ago. We have our gas on board. Pumps are coming on. Signs on, auto. Start the boarding process. Rin says, please put the AE engines on. Yoga? You guys want to see the yoga takeoff? We can do it, man. We're not paying for maintenance, right? We'll do a full toga. Let's go ahead and spool it up. Let's spool up this APU. Oof. I want to make them roar too. The flex, all the flex does is really just brings you... At this loadout, a flex 65, I mean, you're pretty much taking off at climb power, so your thrust reduction is going to be pretty minimal. Man, I love that APU spooling up. Comrade, I'm pretty sure Comrade went out there and recorded an APU start on the Airbus because I've been around plenty of APU starts. This one sounds pretty good. Spooling up. You guys all know about the bleed pack sound, right? So right now we just have the APU running. Excuse me. There's no packs running. We're not running any air conditioning, but we can hear it when I go ahead and activate APU bleed. Now you can hear the packs spooling up. Let me turn up the audio for you guys. I apologize. I had it turned down for the piston. Whew. Alright. Beautiful detail work on here. Look at the brake lines coming in here. Do they have brake wear indicators modeled? Whoa. Let's take a look. I don't see any brake wear indicators unless that's one there. But that is still pretty highly detailed. Pretty good job on that. Alright, we got our APU bleed on. We can go ahead and disconnect the external. Go ahead and give them the signal out front. You guys go ahead and pull ground power and air. We are still in the align phase, it looks like. What do we got here? Align in 0 minutes. It should be any minute now. We'll go arc plan mode. The departure is we're gonna be climbing straight up. Not straight up, but we're gonna go straight up to 17,000. And we are doing a no flex takeoff, so we'll go ahead and clear out the flex. Oh, it won't let me clear it out, really? Well, we're gonna go full yoga. So what we'll do is we'll just leave our V speeds. we're gonna go to Toga is always available. There was an incident not too long ago. You guys probably a couple days ago, maybe. I forget where it was, where in the world, but there was an Airbus that took off with minimal power because they went on an intersection. They didn't have the thrust reduction. Or, I'm sorry, the takeoff shift. There goes a freaking strike on my YouTube channel. Takeoff shift wasn't set correctly, and they ended up taking off on an intersection. And they had significantly less runway than they thought, and they almost hit something at the end of the runway. So just remember, Toga is always available, even if you didn't have your numbers in there for it, which of course ideally you want to, but Toga is always available. If you're running down the runway, you're like, hey, I don't think we're going to make it, put that sucker in Toga and get off the ground safely. What do we have for an altimeter? 3002. What do you mean barrel ref? Oh yeah, this is not set over here. 3002. Constraint mode on. I got people calling me all over the place. 1017. Why would they be calling me? Sorry, my phone's going off. Alright, we got 3002 set 1, 2, and 3. APU is on. We are ready to get out of here, guys. Let's go ahead and plan our pushback. Let's see. I want to go... Let's push us back here. Let's see, where's the taxiway? Taxiway is out here, I think. Nope. Nope, almost went the wrong direction. There's the arrow. We're going to go right back to the release line.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are
So anybody
ready.
says, I don't think I ever got your thoughts on the BSS IAEs. I haven't heard any BSS IAE sound yet. I know Comrade was doing some testing, and you guys posted a couple videos up in the Discord. I didn't really see or hear that video. I know you guys posted it, but I didn't have a chance to really listen to it. From what I gather, a lot of you guys weren't too impressed. So we'll see, man. I haven't listened to his recordings yet, so I don't know. All right, so I think we're ready to go. We've got made a salt and tail number. I'm trying to do it from memory. Onboard and check. Here, pins and covers. Remove signs. On and auto. 8 ears. We are nav. Fuel. 3.5 required. 4 on board. Engine mode selector is normal. Oh, no. Laser packs are set, and I forget my checklist now. See, I can't do it by memory. Thrust lever is idle. Parking brake is on for now. Transponder is in transponder. Before start, checklist complete. We'll go ahead and go beacon light on. Let's call for push and get out of here, guys. I really hope Toliss doesn't surprise me with a compound failure and I don't have a checklist to run. Tow is driving up. Yeah, since we're not on Pilot Edge, we'll do it realistically. We'll put it in transponder only mode. Here comes our tow. We'll watch him hook up. Flight Factor has the brake model indicators, or brake indicators modeled. Hopefully Toliss took a page out of their book for the 321. I gotta take a look at that. I can't even remember if I looked at the 321. Captain Berto, Takeoff.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed.
I know, man.
Ready to connect.
Alright, you're green to connect, my friend. Daniel Smith says the Airbus Toga is weird for me. Isn't it essentially full throttle? In the 737, we always use Toga thrust because it's whatever takeoff thrust is calculated in the FMC. So Toga in the Airbus, essentially, technically it's all the same thing. I'm sure you flex in the 7.3 just like you would in the Airbus. It's an assumed temperature takeoff, so your output is reduced based on your flex number. That's just to save engine wear. Everybody does it. In the 7.3 though, I think it's different. I think your thrust levers might go to the same position, whereas in the Airbus you put them in a flex. There's actual detents that you put it in for flex.
So connected and bypassed and inserted. Release parking brake.
All right, brakes release. Clear to push straight back to the release line.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
The Airbus Toga is weird for me. Oh, I already read that one. Let me see. Do I have my? Let's turn people up a little bit. Do you ever do you ever have user nav data going into your custom data flow? There are a ton of ILS discrepancies. X11, you can get Navigraph to do it for you. Dimitri, I've had some discrepancies. I think I just I haven't really sat down. My custom nav data folder is all messed up, man. So I need to take a look at that and clear it out. But like I said, I'd rather just get on the stream with you and deal with a messed up frequency than fiddle around all day, because I felt like I needed to get back with you guys, back in the stream zone. But yeah, I do have some discrepancies, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, Navigraph will do it for you. Dave R says the 310L is by Digital Replica. Okay, Digital Replica 310L. G5 43530. Wow, waiting all for $26.95. I'm gonna have to check that out, Dave. Thank you for bringing that up. I will definitely check that out. Carl Chill just got it linked. Perfect. Let me take a look at it while we're starting. We're moving back here. Actually, we should probably start an engine. There's our PSI, and start it up, baby. X-Plane store. Let me take a look at this 310 now. Wow. Wow, look at that weight and balance charts. I know you guys can't see the overlay, but I'm looking at this 310L that Dave was talking about. Okay, yeah. I think that's going to be a purchase here. The only 310 experience I have is I flew it from Phoenix to San Diego for Fleet Week. Navy Fleet Week out there. I flew out there with I'm good friends with the owner. But I will have to take a look. That looks fantastic. Thank you for linking that, guys. Brake set, clear, disconnect.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Carl says you like the turbo Milviz, but the L is a lot of fun. I definitely like the L, man. I'm gonna be picking that up. That looks fantastic. You guys know I love GA stuff, and especially a good light twin like that. What about the? I haven't had time. I closed the link now, but is there, any simulated damage or anything like that? If you mess with the engines, we'll go ahead and crank engine 2. We'll do a dual engine taxi out. I can't remember where my camera views are on this puppy. I hate doing that to you guys, sorry. Just had to cycle through my views one time. In the 737 you can...
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Alright, thanks for the smooth push, man. We'll see you next time. In the 7.3 you always toggle off auto throttle mid-roll to get full thrust. Yeah, I don't know. You guys have to... I'm not too familiar with the 7.3. I think you're talking to Dave. Man, that sound is awesome. That startup sound. Hand signal will be on the left. There we go. Tug tow and a wave. Wave off with the taxi light. Good start on engine 2. Flaps 1. And APU come offline. Alaska 1522. Let's see, where are we going? We need to figure out where we're going today. Pretty sure we came off of over here somewhere. Alaska 1522, taxi 16 left via Bravo and Charlie. 16 left, Bravo and Charlie, Alaska 1522. Brakes released. Toliss is doing this weird taxi thing. I don't know where that came from. I think that came from one of the updates. Let's get out of here. Man, that sounds good, though. Dave says you can flood the 310 and it has icing and rain effects. All right, Dave, I think you sold me, man. That sounds fantastic. I love stuff like that. Because, you know, when you get on an airplane, I got to hide the view here because I think we just ran over a truck, so I didn't want to see that. It gives me anxiety. But I love an airplane that will punish you when not treated correctly. And that's what a lot of airplanes lack these days. So the fact that it's got icing and rain effects and, you know, some flooding simulation, that's awesome. Oh God. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. But that's cool, man. Thank you for showing me that. I will check that out after this stream, no doubt. Well, probably not right after, because I do have to pick up my family member. I have a family member coming in town today, so hopefully we can get down there. They might have to be waiting at the airport for me. All right, on our taxi out, let's go ahead and run some flight control checks here. Remember, in the Airbus, we check each flight control computer separately, so we're going to go full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral. And then from the passenger view, you know you'd see the FO check his. That's beautiful. I love it. I love the Airbus, man. Alright, we're going to go ahead, auto brakes, max, takeoff, config, check, weather PWS, that's going to come on to auto, TARA, flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff. Alright, we're going to continue runway heading up to 17,000 feet, then we'll load it up direct to... What do we got? We're going to be direct to... We're not going to come back to Seattle. Our first fix is technically going to be Buzzo. We're going to put our perf in there. Simone Tumba! Hey everyone, how are you doing? Have you heard about the BSS sound pack upcoming for the 319? Simone, yes, we just talked about it briefly. I haven't heard or really seen any footage of it yet. But I do know that it is being worked on, and I'm excited. But from what I heard on the initial videos, I didn't think too many people were impressed. So I have faith in Comrade that he's going to nail it. So I don't know for a fact though. So, but I have heard of it. Good to see you on stream. Good to have you here. Welcome aboard. Daniel Smith, when's the next ZIBO stream? I want to school you. You know what? We will be doing some ZIBO here in a little bit. I gotta update that thing again. Does it have to be ZIBO, Daniel Smith? Can we do, like, you know, IXEG, or what about a 732 stream? I'm getting the itch for some old JT8D engines, man. I've been watching XP1972. He's done some fantastic streams. Last couple streams he's done, and he's had the old retro airplanes, and it's given me an itch to hop in. Maybe even an MD80, man. The Rotate MD80, I haven't flown that in the sim in probably over a year. We are hauling down here. Sony Boy says that these CFM sounds bring me back to 4 years ago when I had to fly a United 319 to SFO, especially the PTU and hydraulic noises. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Dave R says, Vion, I bought the honeycomb off your recommendation, and it makes things a lot more realistic living. That's awesome. Good to hear, Dave. I've been trying to stretch mine out a little bit, my honeycomb yoke, like that pitch. I don't know if I just had an extra stiff one or what, but that's my only gripe with the honeycomb, is it's just a hair too stiff for me in the pitch. But I love it, man. I think it's a good quality yoke. I think it's going to last quite a while. You know, for that price point, it's better than its competitors, you know, until you start talking about $800,000, $900,000 for a yoke. I think in that price point, it does a good job. All right, so we're holding short of 1.6 left. Just let's take in this beautiful sound here. Gotta love it. All right. Before takeoff checklist, I don't have it in front of me, but we're pretty much good to go. Alaska 1522, only 1.6 center fly, heading 160. Clear for takeoff. Fly heading 160, 1.6 center, clear for takeoff. Alaska 1522. Let's light them up. Whew. Yes, sir. All right, before we give it a full send here, let's go ahead and get my screens set for you guys. That looks good to me. All right, nose forward on the stick, spool them up 50. Let's get out of here, guys. Oh, yeah. Man, Toga, SRS, runway, auto thrust is blue. knots, thrust set. Neutral by 100. Let's try to stay on center line like a professional. Man, we are rocketing. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Ooh, baby. Woo! That is a sick shot coming out of ORBX. Man, that looks good. There's our thrust reduction altitude. Nose it forward. Remember, get that positive trend on airspeed before you reduce your throttles. Thrust levers. Thrust climb, open climb, auto thrust, select heading. We'll make it a slight right turn here. And we're probably going to need engine anti-ice. We are, yep. Flap protraction speed, flap 0. Beautiful. Alaska 1522. Clear direct buzzo, climb and maintain 17,000. Direct buzzo, climb and maintain 17,000. Alaska 1522. Alright, we're at thrust climb, open climb, nav. I should have had terrain mode on this departure as well, because this is considered a mountainous terrain. We'll go ahead and autopilot 1 it. Take a look outside here, although there's not much to see, but some rain. Whew. Carl says the Yoko Yoke is a great piece of hardware, but it's not cheap. I can agree with that. Romulus says I have a steering wheel under my desk, but not really enough room for that and all the flight sim stuff. I use the gray flipper on the Thrustmaster one for my chiller. Ah, that's a good idea. MSRP is $1,000 for the Yoko, huh? You have one and it's great. Very high resolution in the device software interface. That's what I would, I mean, that's good. I think that's kind of what, you know, if you're going to get, if you need to get that high resolution, you're going to pay for it. So I think that's why it's that expensive. But I have no doubt that it's probably a fantastic piece of equipment. Oh, we're 250. We're almost at 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and we'll kill the lights, ding the flight attendants. We're out of 10. Ice can come off as we're out of the clouds. We do need to pay attention to our arrival here because I know it comes up quick, but I want to have time to hang out with you guys here. So let's go Helen 6, zoom it in for planning purposes. Turbojets expect 10,000 feet at crater. So I'm going to just go ahead and put that in there right now so we can have a accurate descent planning. I'm going to go ahead and put /10,000 and I'm going to put that on crater. And why did you not take altitude constraint? I want to make it a hard 10,000, not 10,000 or above. There we go. Alright, we got 10,000 set on our prog page here. I'm going to put KPDX in there so we get some bearing distance information. Beautiful. Top of climb, top of descent. Things are looking up. Alright. Ooh, that's loud. Down a little bit for you. All right. Carl says you opened it up and looked over the electronics. It's all first-rate hardware, no crapping capacitors. Excuse me, I drunk these solder points. All very well done. Fantastic, man. That might be a bucket list item for me in the future, but it's good to know that you give it the official Carl seal of approval. Alaska 559, a $10 bomb donation, says, love your streams, keep up the good work. Alaska 559, thank you so much for your donation. Thank you for supporting the channel, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying the content and the streams. Glad you're here with us today on board on our way down to Portland. I imagine you enjoy Alaska Airlines as well, since you're Alaska 559, so I hope I'm rocking your livery, man. Positive rates, absolutely. Sony boy on top of it with them positive rates. Thank you. Nick M says, considering captain on the bus, have you been an FO at some point? Do you have been in both seats? What is it like flying Airbus with your non-dominant head? Yeah, Nick M, I've been all around, man. I've been right seat, left seat, right seat, left seat. And, you know, it depends on what airplane. I mean, I went from the right seat on one airplane to the left seat on another airplane. So it really, initially, when I would say the hardest part about, you know, switching hands and stuff was when I was a flight student and all your training is done in the left seat, right? And then I went for my flight instructor. And then that was the first time in my aviation career that I had to learn to fly with my other hand. So after, you know, and then that takes a little while to get over. But once I got over that and the initial part of being an instructor and jumping from the left seat to the right seat way back when in the 152s and 172s and things like that, I kind of just became a second nature. So, you know, because I think at that point, when I was an instructor, my old setup I had for FS9 or whatever simulator I was running then, I think I had throttles on the left, and I was flying with my left hand. Because in flight training, I set up my desk to be like I was doing it in the airplane. So I had, you know, because you take your training from the left seat. So I've switched hands so many times now that it really doesn't bother me. The main reason I run my setup the way I do now in X-Plane is because I do a lot of digital combat sim. So that's why I have that right-handed stick. So I mean, I would say I do a lot of it. I haven't done anything on my sim in a very long time. I've been so busy, but typically I do quite a bit of DCS. The one thing that is weird, I'll tell you, is if you're like sitting here and you always hear me misspeak the engines, like engine 1, then engine 2. And it's weird because, you know, I'm sitting in the left seat here visually, but then my hands are as I'm sitting over here. So sometimes I confuse the way I'm looking at the engines. But other than that, it's not a big deal. It's fun. Steven Tan says, hey everyone, I'm thinking on buying Track IR5 so I can simulate a more circuit VFR landing. Yes. Is it worth paying $220 Canadian? Also your position view when you see it in a real 320. So absolutely, Steven. If you want to be training for your real life stuff, I would highly suggest Track IR. It is a game changer, especially when you're looking out the window and you want to see the runway off your left hand side when you make your base turn, final turn, and things like that. I absolutely think it's worth it. I know there are some cheaper options out there. You may want to look into that. But if you have the money and you're in a position to get the Track IR, I've had Track IR for a while now. It's fantastic. I love it. Never had a problem with it. I definitely recommend it. It will be a game changer for you, especially since you're trying to replicate what you're doing in real life. So I highly suggest that. The seat position for when I'm in a 320, it's pretty much... Honestly, the seats are kind of weird in the X-Plane. I want to say right about here. That's about my real seat position. So maybe a little bit further back. Maybe like right here. But I do sit a little bit higher. I try to sync up. There's a lamp under here, and I kind of put the lamp just on top of this bar. So right about there is about my real seat position. So it is a little bit weird in X-Plane, but in the real airplane, of course, we always set up to make sure you've got the right ball covered, white and red, just like that. That's very important for when you do Cat 3s and stuff like that. So I did Cat 3 Autoland into DFW a couple days ago. So I know we had a little drama in the Discord there, but it was that day where I ended up losing my iPad. It was crazy. We went Las Vegas to Dallas, and it was right before this major cold front came through. We were in moderate... I don't want to say severe turbulence because severe turbulence is classified as momentary losses of control. So while we never lost control of the airplane, it was a very heavy moderate turbulence. I mean, I tightened down my 5-point harness because it was that hard. And there was no way to get out of it. You couldn't go up or down. So we got beat up all the way to Dallas. And we get into Dallas and we got to do a friggin' Cat 3 Autoland. So it was a busy day. So it is possible I left my iPad in the cockpit. I was definitely a little bit more high-stress situation, I would say. But, yeah. Oh, a little bit of reload there. Carl says the Alaska Airlines salmon livery is awesome. I love the salmon livery. Is there one available for X-Plane? I haven't even thought about looking at one yet. I would love to put the salmon livery up. I'm a big fisherman. I do fish competitively, so I love all things fish. Carl says that I use Track IR for X-Plane and DCS. It's an awesome tool. Yeah, it definitely is. I would use it. I used to use it in my streams, Track IR, but I think the resolution, when I have Track IR on and my head is able to move just slightly left and right, it kind of messes up with the picture quality for you guys. So that's why I try to stream in a sharp picture quality or sharp output, 1080p. And I think the Track IR kind of messes with that. So I don't use it in my streams anymore, unfortunately. But anytime I'm flying offline or not streaming, you bet it's gonna be running. Daniel Smith says you did an absolute. You did an Autoland in Prague a few days back. Absolute crap. Carl, go get lunch, man. Have a good one. Micah says Track IR can be tricky to set up, but set up properly when you do it's great. Yeah, take some time in setting it up and getting your profile set up. Decelerate. We need to start down. I gotta stop talking. We'll go ahead and set 10,000 feet here. I'm gonna go manage descent. She's probably gonna dive down, huh? I think we can make it. Let's go ahead and start setting up for our approach. But yeah, take some time. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there that will show you how to make profiles and stuff. I highly recommend doing that. And once you get it set up the way you want to, you're going to love it. KPDX, what do we got? 3400 RCAS, rain, 30-06. Got a 30-06 in the altimeter. Got one in the closet. Temperature is not depicted. Heck, what does active sky say? Portland weather temperature is 8. And active sky wind is telling me it's going to be 120 at 10. That's pretty close. 120 at 10. We don't need that anymore. Let's go ahead and start prepping for our approach. We're going to shoot the ILS 10 left. Just because that's where the ramp is over there. So we're going to 10 left. Our minimum straight in ILS 10 left is going to be 263. We're going to put that in the MDA. We only do DHs if we're doing an auto land or Cat 2, 3. So that looks good. How's our gas looking? 51 minutes extra time. Copy the secondaries, send for numbers. And let's go ahead and do a quick briefing. We'll get our LS push buttons on. All right, we're planning on shooting the ILS 10 left into Portland. I got chart 11... What's the chart number on this thing? I guess it's a different chart. Chart Alpha Lima 330. I got 110, 111.3. There it is, auto-tune. Final approach course will be 103 degrees. Touchdown zone is 30 feet. Our DA is 263. Runway 10 left. We've got 11,000 feet. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 10 left over here. We've got 9,825 feet available for landing. It'll be a right-hand turn-off, no runways to cross. Coming down there on 10 left, we're looking for high-intensity runway lights. We got the Heroes. If we have to go missed off 10 left, we're going to fly the published Mish, which is straight out 800 feet, followed by climbing a left turn up to 4,200, over to Battleground, VOR, and hold. That's in the box here. Inbound course will be 340. That matches the plate in the box. We're in an A319. We're going to land flaps full, manual brakes, reverse as required. Any questions? No questions. Briefing's complete. We are starting down. We're going to cross over there at 10,000 feet. Things are looking up, guys. Things are looking up. During the moderate turbulence, have you seen a significant change in the speed, altitude, roll, and yaw? How does the Airbus respond? The altitude, yeah, you're definitely up and down a little bit. And I mean, we were getting rocked, I would say, in all axes. So yeah, we were rolling a little bit, and our speed was okay. It was enough where we were able to keep the auto thrust on. If it were any worse, I probably would have turned the auto thrust off, just because sometimes the auto thrust can start to overcompensate for itself in a very severe turbulence situation. We weren't quite there yet, so the auto thrust remained on, but we were definitely getting bumps, you know, left, right, up, and down. I'm surprised the autopilot didn't kick off. I've been in a situation where the turbulence was so bad that the autopilot did disengage. It's happened a couple times. All right, what's happening here? I hear the engine's doing a bunch of stuff. All right, there's 10,000 feet. What's after that? We want to cross Battleground at 7,000. 7,000 is blue. I'm going to go ahead and select speed 250. We're going to go activate, confirm. And we'll go ahead and start down 7,000. Alaska 1522, center maintain 7,000. Center maintain 7, Alaska 1522. We'll go ahead and get our Chinese speed brakes out there. There they come. They are made in China. Well, the mechanisms are. That's why they are Chinese speed brakes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you today. As we prepare for landing, please make sure your seatbelt is fastened, your seat back and tray table are in their upright and locked position, and your aisle armrest is lowered. Please ensure larger devices such as laptops are stowed at this time, either in a bag under the seat in front of you or in an overhead bin.
Leonidas G003 says, hey everyone, I was thinking of you making a video explaining approach types in detail. Everything looks like a mess to me. RNAV, GPS, GNSS, LPV, LNAV. The terms seem to change over time. Excuse me. Yeah, Leonidas, it can get confusing. I might try to get into some of that. You know, LNAV, VNAV is technically an RNAV. LPV and GNSS are where it's really going to get different, as well as RNP. RNP, you have to have special authorization. GNSS is technically a reference to area navigation. LPV, lateral plus vertical, not many people can do that, or aircraft equipped with LPV. It just depends on, you know, airline or aircraft equipment. But LPV can get you down a little bit lower than LNAV, VNAV. I think in the Embraer we actually did LPV approaches. I'm trying to remember. But it is hard to pin down, especially if you're not in the industry, because the terms do change, new things come out, old things go away. Technically, Cat A, like Cat 3, A, B, and C don't exist anymore. It's Cat 3, fail operational, fail passive. So A, B, and C don't even make sense. They're not even real terms anymore. So don't feel bad, man. I get confused by them sometimes too, and I do this for a living. So, but I'll try to incorporate a video like that sometime. HD Sim in the house, how's it going, man? IMDimitri says, is there a European tour coming in the near future? Perhaps when the 321 comes out. Yes, Dimitri. You know, there really needs to be. I've been saying it for a while. My only thing is I'm looking for the sceneries out there. I don't have any Euro stuff. I mean, I've got the Great Britain, ORBX South and North and all that. But I do want to do a trip out there. We're going to do the Toncontin thing here pretty soon. I was thinking maybe for 10K subs, we might do a world record long-haul stream. We're going to replicate British Airways 1, which is a 319 flight out of JFK to London City. So, I don't know. I'll have to gauge the audience, do some polling, but I think we might do. That may be saved for a 10K sub special. But I do want to get out there in Europe and do some stuff, especially at the very least, you know, in the Great Britain area. Alright, there's 7,000 feet for Battleground. Things are looking good. Sosa, did you fly the Embraer in real life? Yes, I did. Fixer Jake, how's it going? Good to see you here, man. Welcome aboard. We are on our descent and arrival into Portland International Airport, where we have the sim coders, PDX. I love it. Fantastic airport. WAS assists the LPV approach with, while GNSS assists all RNAV. Yeah, WAS is Wide Area Augmentation System. I think the G1000s can do WAS approaches. That's also aircraft specific. Equipment specific. You need to have WAS capabilities. Oh, Daniel Smith, it's British Airways 2 A318. I got you. I thought it was British Airways 1. Yeah, we don't have an A318, but we can do it in a 319. Actually, I'd like to take the 320, the V1 bird over there, maybe even a 321. I don't know if we can get a 321 in London City. We'd have to really look at the numbers. I bet you we could if we plan to land with very minimal fuel. Have you ever done an NDB approach, or was the system gone? Oh no, I've done plenty of NDB approaches, man. When I was flying freight, the NDB was, I mean, one of the airports that I would go to every day, the only approach was a circle. You had to arc, I'm trying to remember this, it was a VOR arc to intercept an NDB circle to land. I mean, I was on that approach one night in severe icing conditions where I was like, what the heck am I doing with my life? And that's when I set my applications out. Alright, there's 7,000 feet. We're going to go ahead and continue our descent now. Alaska 1522. Descend and maintain 5,000. Descend and maintain 5,000. Alaska 1522. Actually, we'll go ahead and make it 3,000. 1522. Descend and maintain 3,000. Good rate down. Got a little bit behind our descent there. Let's go and get our speed brakes out. Oh, baby. Yes, sir. This is, wait, is it? I think it's Flight Beam. What did I say? Sim coders? Flight Beam PDX? Maybe you guys know. I'll have to look it up. It's been a while since I remember. I think it's Flight Beam. Pretty sure it's Flight Beam. Daniel Smith, 738 streaming LCY. It's going to come, man. It's going to have to. Flight Deck to Sim did a fantastic job going in there with the 319. He really did. Engineer Nice is coming on. Alaska 1522, turn left, heading 260. Left turn, I'm sorry, 270. There we go. Left turn 270. Actually, we'll make it all the way around. Alaska 1522, you're about 8 miles from a trail, turn a left, heading, I'll vector myself here, turn left heading 170. Intercept the localizer. So we'll go loc initially. 170 to join the loc. We'll go ahead and bring that speed back. We got those speed brakes still out there. There we go. Speed brakes are stowed. 180 knots. 170 on the heading. Here comes our VFE next to -10. Get ready to go flaps 1. Epidemic, you flew the ZIBO into Beijing? Nice, man. So my ortho is jacked up out here. Alaska 1522. You are 5 miles from trail now. Fly heading 140, maintain 3 till established, cleared ILS 10 left approach. 3 to establish 14D on a heading cleared, ILS 10 left approach, Alaska 1522. Approach arm, AP 1+2, Cat 3 dual, glide slope blue, lope blue. VFE next -10, we'll go flaps 2. Interesting color swap there. Oliman, yes, I do need to set my altimeter. No, it's 3002. We're set. 3002 is set. We're good. We did it coming down. We never went to standard. We never went above 18,000 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and just extend the line here off trail. Inbound course, what did we say it was? It was 103. Nope. Nope. How about we just do this? We'll cycle the box, direct trail. There we go. Now it's cycled. More than one way to skin a cat. There's 180 knots. There's our glide slope star. That should have been on. We can go ahead and kill the anti-ice. Alaska 1522. You are clear to land. 10 left. Wind 120 at 10. Clear to land. 10 left. Alaska 1522. Dougal says it's only a matter of time before me and Flight Deck could get nagged about a shared cockpit. Dougal, I would love to do a shared cockpit. The only problem is it's hard to find. Like, I don't know if if X-Plane's got the ability to do a proper shared cockpit and stream. That's always the hard part. All right, we're approaching 2,000 feet above field elevation. We're going to go ahead and push for managed speed. Let's do a gear down from the exterior. Oh yeah. Beautiful. VFE next -10. We'll go flaps 3. That's all in the slats. A little bit of flaps. VFE next -10, flaps full. There they go, dropping down. Man, that's a thing of beauty right there. over the water. Let's go ahead and pop these out. We're going to hand fly this puppy in here because Airbus is too nice not to hand fly. Let me fix my stick in the proper position. There we go. And cabin signs, check. Landing check, cam crew advise, auto thrust speed. ECAM memo, we are landing all green. Landing all green. Ah, we are landing check is complete. Clear to land 10 left. A little bit low there. Let's go ahead and correct that. Get back on the slope. How are we looking for winds? 118 at 8. That's not too bad. Could go auto brake slow. Hector says you can do a shared cockpit next plane. I know you can. I just don't know, like, can you really sync, like, I don't know. I have to look into it, man. I've been waiting for the flight deck, for the FlyJ Sim shared cockpit stuff to come out, because that looks like it's going to be a much more stable situation for shared cockpit. But I think that'd be a lot of fun, man. I don't know hardly at all anything about Boeing. So if I was flying the Boeing and he was in the right seat yelling at me, telling me what to do, or vice versa, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I just don't know if the tech is there yet. We're below 1,000, stable. Down to land, clear to land. Whoa there, wind. That just dropped out of nowhere. Wow. Okay. That was an interesting little gust of wind there. We're still 2 whites, 2 red. This is not a coinciding glide path. Nice displaced threshold. We'll keep her 2 whites, 2 red all the way down. We're visual with the runway. Don't want to drag it in. There we go. Looking for 50 feet above the threshold. I can hear the callouts, but they're very quiet. I wonder what's going on with my sound. Oof, we're down. Spoilers, reverse screen. Listen to that. Manual brakes. Stow the buckets. That was a weird... It came very unstable there at the end. Airplane definitely destabilized on me. Speak to forgotten the passengers about shared cockpit. I will, man. I'll look into it. The other thing too is, like, I don't know, you know, as a YouTuber, I don't want to ask anybody to, you know, share cockpit and do streams with, because I feel like that's kind of, I don't want to piggyback off anybody either. You know, I'm trying to build my own thing, and I don't want to impose on anyone either. So I don't want to bother anybody about that. I do think it would be fun, though. We'll go ahead and kill the strobes. That's going to be an interesting landing to look at, because that was definitely destabilized there. We have visible moisture, and we are below 10C, so by definition, we should turn the engine and eyes on while we taxi into the gate here. We'll go ahead and start the chrono. She plopped down there for me. I love this airport, though. The textures and everything. Oof. Don't really need the wipers. I guess it's not really raining. We'll go ahead and kill the heat so I don't forget. After landing checklist, that's stowed. We'll go ahead and stand by here. We'll go ahead and weather PWS off. We'll go ahead, if FD, LS push buttons off, so it resets the FCU for the next crew. Wonder what happened to my callouts. Had no callouts on that one. We'll go ahead and start the APU. no longer need terrain mode. Can't decide if it's raining or not out here. Flap open. We'll go ahead and fire up the APU. Looks good. Looks good. You just need smart co-pilot. I tried to do smart co-pilot with one of my buddies in the Flight Factor, and I was having a lot of connectivity issues, so I gotta look into it. Alright, here comes the main terminal area. We'll make a left turn here at Bravo 4. How are we doing on time? Minute 43, and we'll go ahead and shut down the engines. I love the BSS reverse sound. Like, that's the one thing that the Flight Factor really misses when you do a replay, the sounds. It's a bummer that there's no sounds in replay in the Flight Factor, because listening to these engines open up in the reverse is freaking sweet. Alright, APU is avail. I was going to single engine taxi us in, but because it is wet, we're going to go ahead and not do it. You know what? I turned one too early. We're on the GA ramp now. That's kind of weird. We'll just pretend they had construction over here. And we'll pretend we're not going to hit that caravan. Because I think we would clip that caravan in real life. Yeah. We'd go over it, but I'm pretty sure that would not be allowed. Definitely turned one too soon. This is where I should have turned over here. Alright, we got the unknighted guys up here. Should be just on the other side. I do miss the IE engines. The CFMs look too small. They look too small to me. Alright, there's 3 minutes. We'll go ahead and single engine taxi this puppy in. We'll go ahead and yellow electric pump is on. Confirm 2, confirm. We'll spool her down. Beautiful. I think this Toliss requires a little bit more juice. A single engine taxi. Micah says, and pretend you go over the big X. I know, right? As a ground controller in VATSIM in Portland, I wouldn't be too happy with you. Yeah, as a ground controller in VATSIM, I hope I would have followed your instructions too, man. I kind of just I left there one too early. That would not be bueno. That is no taco bueno, man, making a left turn there. We're going to go inside the Y up here. British Airways 777 out here, huh? That's interesting. Looking good, man. Alright, I think we actually should be on the other side gates, but we're going to go in here. I don't want to taxi too much longer. We'll park it up over here on the left side. Lights are coming off. Taxi light is off. Now it is. We'll take the next one. There's the line. This line's at an angle. Got to keep plenty of speed. Come in on this one. Look at my marshaller. Yeah, I know you want me to go left, but I also want the trucks to be straight. There we go. Man, that's a nice looking model there. He's got the vest on, everything. Wow, that's much better than the other one. Stop. Brakes set. Chuck signal. We'll go ahead and seatbelt sign off. APU is available. Engine 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Portland. Ooh, yeah. Chris Hargrave says, I've flown out Portland many times. I was born about an hour south of there. Awesome, man. I love flying into Portland. I love that airport. It's a great airport, too. 5% beacon come off. Prepare doors for arrival and cross-check. There's our PTO barking away. That's because I left the electric pump on. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this replay, guys. Toggle replay. I'm going to put you in... Oops, wrong screen. There we go. Replay and disable real view. Let's take a look at this landing here. Back it up a little bit more. Right about there. All right, let's take a look at this. Good thing about Toliss is we can hear these wonderful engines. Leo says, V1 Sim, is the Airbus only running on those Pistons engines? How will it take off? It would not take off, man. If you only had piston engines, it's not going to be able to go anywhere. I'd highly doubt you'd be able to move it even. You might be able to taxi at full power. Oh, yeah. This says not on a runway, so we're going to go ahead and ignore you. Man, that reverse sound. I still like the slide reverse better than these flower petals. Let's take it back a little bit further. Right about there. And let's do it from a wing view over here. Portland is awkward for me on VATSIM. The Mr. X scenery for X-Plane has a massive offset from whatever's in the aerodrome controller. Oh, really? That could definitely be annoying. I could see if you can offset. Like, where are you landing? Is the martial roller part of scenery or what? I think it is. I think it is. Man, listen to those engine sounds in a replay. Oh yeah. That was nice. A little bit of replay there. There's the Florence kit right there on the aileron. Helping us decelerate. Keeping that wing down. We'll do a couple more. We'll do one more inside shot from the engine here. I just like looking at the scenery coming in over the water. How about right there and right here? This is a good shot right here. PDX is IMC half of the time low. Yeah, that whole northwest, man. Every time I'm going up there, I feel like I'm shooting approach. Very rarely are you not shooting approach into Portland. My very first ILS approach I ever did, for real, at a job where I was getting paid, not instructing or anything like that. I was flying a citation, and my first ILS down to minimums was into Portland. And it was down to minimums. I was sitting in the right seat at the time. I was like, this is so cool, man. Good old Portland. I'll take it, man. Beautiful. Oh yeah, Chris says the wind's coming down can make it bumpy. Absolutely. Depending on which direction that wind is blowing, you can really get rocked going into Portland. Alright, one of my favorite views here, then we're going to get out of here. Oh, our door's half open. I forgot to stop the auto door. Could have had a little bit more flare in there. Didn't really flare. I just kind of gave up on that. Pretty much right on the center line though. BKG, you want a tower view? We can do it. This is for all you VATSIM guys right here. And then we're going to start the music. And it's going to be that time. Let's take a look at this tower view here right now. We got a bunch of VATSIM controllers on. Yes, sir. Alaska 1522 coming in 10 left. Alright, guys. I'll do 1 or 2 more replays here from the exterior view. I'll be heading off. I got to run down to the airport, pick up some family members. All my mods, sponsors, my donators, everybody that's been tuning in today, I appreciate you hanging around. I know it was an early one. We started early in the piston. Look at that, blowing the water forward. I really appreciate all of you guys here hanging out with me today in this wonderful live stream. All my mods, sponsors, special shout out to you. Everyone just hanging out in chat. I love you guys just as much. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one, hopefully tomorrow. So I know I've been pretty quiet, been pretty busy. I'm hoping I'll get a stream in for you tomorrow, as well as over the weekend. Until then, you guys have a good one. I will see ya next time. Later.